So I've got a knife and I've got a package with something in it. Let's find out. What's up guys, it's Subsy here and this is the Corsair dock. Now Corsair, as you know, is a company that makes a lot of gaming stuff. So when they came out with this, which is targeted towards Mac users, I was a bit confused, but I thought let me check it out and let me unbox it for you guys and yeah, let's get into it. There we go. Throw that away. Out the packaging. Here we have the box, which is actually really heavy. I didn't expect it to be this heavy. Oh, okay, so it just sort of opens up like a flap. Wow, this is actually surprisingly heavy. Okay, so we have another box within, which this opens up a lot better. So let's just put that to one side for now. We'll see what else we get. Bunch of flimsy stuff, and this is where the bulk is, it seems. So the actual dock is actually quite light. I mean, it's built solid, but we'll get into that. So you have a power cable. For some reason, I got the European one and the UK one, so it ships with both. And quite a big power brick, actually. And then we have a small USB-C to C cable and nothing else. So let's just... So the USB-C to C cable is actually, I don't know, does it say how long? 0.7 meters. And then we have the two power cables and a 100 watt power adapter thingy for the dock. Now let's just take a look around this quickly. At the front, we have a headphone port, SD card reader, again USB-C, I don't know if it's Thunderbolt 3, I'm assuming it is, port, and we have a power button. At the back we have a Kensington lock, which is nice to see, the place to plug in the massive power brick, USB-C, Thunderbolt 3, again, oh okay, so I think the front one is not Thunderbolt 3, the back one of them is, and you have one USB 3, probably 3.1 Gen 2, maybe 3.2 Gen 2, something like that. And then you have two HDMI ports and two more USB ports and an Ethernet port. And yeah, it's pretty clean. And I do love the rubber feet at the bottom. They're quite nice and thick, which means that it won't actually move around on a table. So yeah, let's just peel off the plastic, which didn't go as well as planned. Well, that just didn't work. Let's do it again. And again, it didn't work. This is the worst plastic. There we go. As soon as you insult it, it works. I don't know how to describe it. It's metal, but I don't know, I expected it to feel a bit different, but I do like it, so let's just not judge that. So what I'm going to do now is go away and test this for a few days, see how it fares, and you know, see how it works as a dock. But not just with the MacBook, I'm going to try it with the iPad Pro and see how it works with that, because now that you have mouse support and you've had keyboard support for some time, I'm going to see if this, plugging in a monitor and everything into this, and then one cable from this to the iPad, seeing how that would work and if it works. Okay, so I'm back and let's just get into the design and how it looks and everything like that, because I expected it to be the same color as the MacBook Pro, but it's not. It's actually a bit darker than the MacBook Pro, which for me is a bit weird because they're targeting it heavily as like a dock for MacBooks and Windows laptops. But mostly in the name it says MacBook Pros and stuff like that. So I thought it would match sort of the space grey. It doesn't, it's quite a bit darker, and not only that, it seems like a different shade. It's just, I feel like if it was the same grey and if the Corsair logo on top was the same colour as, you know, the Apple logo, so if it was black, it would just fit a lot better, but it's not. So that's that out of the way. Let's get into the actual ports themselves, which ones they are. So at the front, like I said before, you have the power button, and that's going to be, you know, to power on your laptop or anything like that. USB 3.1 type C port, and that's, you know, that can charge devices up to 15 watts and, you know, transfer data, anything like that. Then next to that you have an SD card slot, and then you have a headphone jack. and around the back you have 2 USB-A ports and they're USB 3.1 I think. And then you have a gigabit Ethernet port. Now it's not 10 gig Ethernet, which is a shame, but at least it's there, you know, you have gigabit Ethernet. So unless you're going to be, you know, transferring large data, or you have like a NAS set up at home, you're not really going to, you know, notice the difference. Then you have another USB 3.1 Type-C port at the back, and it is a shame that it's not USB 3.2, but again, that's okay. Then you have 2 HDMI ports. Now these are HDMI 2.0 ports, so you can do 4K HDR over those, but they're not HDMI 2.1, so you can't, you know, do 4K 120 FPS. So just bear that in mind. And then you have the port which is the Thunderbolt 3 port, and that's the one that you use to connect this to your device, or your MacBook or your Windows laptop. And we'll get into device support in a second. And then you again have your power input for this. Now this can charge your laptop up to 85 watts. So if your laptop draws 160 watts, like it's a gaming laptop or something like that, then you know it's still going to drain the battery. But if it's like a MacBook Pro 13-inch or something like that, then it will still charge over this, and unless you're, you know, using it heavily, it should be fine. So the actual power adapter for this is 100 watts, but the output from this to your laptop is 85 watts, so you have, you know, up to 15 watts to spare for your USB charging peripherals or anything like that. So the actual build of this, it is aluminium, but it gets fingerprints really easily, and they're not understated, so the light reflects on it and it reflects a lot, so you can just see fingerprints all over it, and it just looks like imperfections. It doesn't look like fingerprints, it's more like smudges on it. It just doesn't look pleasant, and I feel like, you know, they could have used a different coating maybe. You know, that's that. You shouldn't be touching it anyway that much because it's meant to be there, so you know, once you clean it, put it there, it should be fine. But I just thought I'd bring that up. So this worked with the MacBook Pro. I haven't tested it with a Windows laptop, but I did test it with the iPad Pro and another device in a second. It didn't work with the iPad Pro. Now you're probably thinking, of course it won't, it's Thunderbolt 3, the iPad doesn't have Thunderbolt 3, it just has USB-C. So as some of you know, Thunderbolt 3 runs on controllers, and the Titan Ridge controller, which is released a couple of years ago I think, has fallback support for USB-C. So if you were to connect a Thunderbolt 3 with a Titan Ridge controller to something which doesn't have Thunderbolt 3 but it's still USB-C, it should still fall back and support basic standards. It doesn't do that on this. So I'm not sure what controller they're using, but I was assuming, or I was hoping more so, that it would support that. And it's not just that the iPad Pro didn't support it, I tried it on my Pixel phone, nothing happened apart from it started charging. On the iPad Pro it said it's not compatible because it's Thunderbolt, so that means it didn't even try to switch back or have a fallback or anything like that, which for me is frustrating because it's really easy to get a dock for a MacBook or a Windows laptop or anything Thunderbolt 3. And it's really easy to get USB-C dongles for the iPad or for your phone or your Android tablet or anything like that. But it doesn't seem easy to get something that works for all of them. So you can get USB-C stuff that works for all of them, but you can't get Thunderbolt 3 docks which fall back and support the iPad and your phone. Because, so say you have like a Samsung phone, you have an iPad and you have a laptop. You want capability that goes between them all, because Samsung phones have DeX support, the iPad Pro now has Now support, and your laptop you may want to dock it when you get home. You don't want 3 different solutions for that. Why can't there just be one for all? And phones aren't going to add Thunderbolt 3 support because there's no point. I mean, you're not going to utilize the Thunderbolt 3 bandwidth for that. And you have USB 3.2 Gen 2, which, no, forget that. You have USB 4 now, which again has a lot of the Thunderbolt 3 stuff. I think it has the full support for bandwidth that Thunderbolt 3 has. And it just seems like we're not there yet on a dock for everything. But that's getting a bit besides the point. This is more of a conversation about this. And this, as it stands, is a really good dock. I mean, just in terms of build quality, it's not going to flex at all. It fits really well in any sort of aesthetic because it's really understated and it's a clean look apart from the Corsair logo at the top. And apart from it not matching the same color as the MacBook, it's okay because you can, I believe, get this in a lighter silver as well, which may match the light MacBook Pro. But either way, you can sort of hide this away and just have like a single cable coming out for your laptop. But just know that this is not a cheap dock, so you can get some USB 3 or Thunderbolt 3 docks for about £100 or $100. This will cost you around £270, which is quite expensive, especially considering it doesn't have USB 3.2 Gen 2 support, and it only delivers 85 watts of charging to your device, and it doesn't have 10 gig Ethernet. So if you need any of those stuff, then stay away from this. One thing that does confuse me is that Corsair, a gaming company, I expected them to have more power throughput from this to your laptop. So if you are gaming and docked, then you would have enough power to keep your laptop going. But again, this isn't targeted heavily towards gamers. It's just targeted to the general consumer and quite heavily towards MacBook users, it seems. So if you're on the market for this, this is a great buy if you don't mind the price hike. But if you need something that this is missing, or you want something that's a bit cheaper, or something that works across more devices, to say you want to connect your Samsung tablet up to your 4K monitor when you get home, this is not the solution for you. And yeah, so stay away from this if you are one of those people. But if you do want something like this and you don't mind the price, and I mean, you're going to get fantastic build quality. It's Corsair branding, so you know it's going to be good, especially if it does break, which it probably shouldn't, not easily at least, but you know that there is good support there if it does go wrong. But let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are about this, if you think that it's, you know, a good deal, or you think Corsair is in the wrong market right now, because, you know, they're going public, they want to expand their customer base naturally, as you want to do. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. But as always, it's been Subsy here, and I'll see you guys next time.